Hello, all. It is a nice evening here on the Holler in Southern Maryland. That's where the Holler is at the moment. We have a special guest here with us this evening, Bruce Sudano. He is a singer-songwriter. Well, I gotta say, he's a legendary singer-songwriter, working with all kinds of people. He's worked with acts such as Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire. He's worked with, gosh, we could go all day. Tommy James. So Donna Sue, she knows a little bit about Bruce. What do you know about Bruce, Donna Sue?
He has done some amazing things, such as creating a Broadway play called Summer. He also has been in Southern Maryland at the Holler Entertainment in our listening room, and we're certainly going to have him back once we're able to have guests back in the listening room. And I'm really excited to have him on the show tonight.
Okay, so without further ado, should we bring him on?
Yes, let's do.
Hello, Bruce. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Drum roll, please.
Okay.
Ta-da!
Wonderful. So you are on the West Coast?
I'm in Los Angeles on the West Coast, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. How's the weather? Probably better than this.
I don't know what you got there, but here it's really nice.
It's rainy.
Ah, yeah. Well, you know, LA, the best thing about LA typically is the weather. So it's a nice day for sure.
Good deal. So, Donna Sue, I saw your lips moving. Are we losing you? Or speak up just a second. Let me see if I got you.
I'm here.
Okay, good. I thought I saw your lips there. Of course, it could be my eyes twitching. Well, how about maybe we could start the show off with talking a little bit about your latest album.
Okay. It's an EP. It's called Spirals Volume 1, Not a Straight Line to Be Found. And it's been out about a month now, I guess. And let's see, what can we tell? It's 5 songs. We had CDs made up just because the only place you really sell CDs these days is on the road. So in anticipation of a tour that I was going on that didn't happen, we had some CDs made up. So and all this to say that the artwork on the CD, this is what I was trying to get to, is done by an Irish artist. Whose name is Padraig Timony. And so that's the artwork for the album. It was produced by Steve Adabo in New York City at a studio called Shelter Island Sound. Steve has produced other people such as Sean Colvin and Suzanne Vega. And
he's no stranger to this production thing.
Say it again, I missed it.
He's no stranger to this production thing, is he?
No, he's been doing it a while, and he has the studio there in Manhattan is great. Shelter Island Sound. It's an old school room, not too big, not too small. It's just perfect. It's very comfortable. You feel like you're at home there, so it's a really nice environment to create in. And so that's that. The first song that came off Spirals was a song called "In the Garden of November," which I know is a favorite of yours. Yes, yeah. And that was the first song off Spirals. And then right now we have out a single and a video for a song called "The Mountain," which is and also a cool song, cool video. The best thing about the video is that they have me as a superhero.
Yeah, I really like
it. Which was a surprise to me when I saw it, but I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That's how I see myself.
Yeah, not quite, but
well, you should.
Yeah, okay.
So, do you mind if I play that video?
Well, say it again.
Do you mind if I play that video right now?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, let's get it up here. There it is, and let's play it.
Everybody feels out there on a limb, running from the devil at the will of the wind. Stranded in the jungle, lives are on the line, overwhelmed by everything, and just not enough time. But you can't look at the mountain when you're reaching for the sky. Can't look at the mountain, it's always up too high. Cast a mighty shadow, that's no light into your eyes, when all you've got is faith to fly. Don't look at the mountain, or you won't make it climb. Oh no. Far too many friends, stretched out way too thin, trying to stay above the water, it's always sink or swim. Feeling too much pressure, no one wants to drown, but it does no good to worry on the way to higher ground. So you don't look at the mountain when you're reaching for the sky. The only way to do it is one day at a time. Cast a mighty shadow, there's no light into your eyes, and all you got is faith to fly. You don't look at the mountain when you're reaching for the sky. You think too long, you can talk yourself out of anything. You think too long, you can talk yourself out of anything. You think too long, you can talk yourself out of anything. Shh. So you don't look at the mountain when you're reaching for the sky. It casts a mighty shadow, that's no light into your eyes. The only way to do it is one day at a time. No, you don't look at the mountain when you're reaching for the sky.
That was awesome. I really enjoy that. That's good. So what inspired that one?
Well, the story goes like this. A while ago, I don't exactly remember when, a number of months ago, I was doing a UK tour. I was on tour with Colin Blunstone, who's the lead singer from the Zombies. And so we did a UK tour together, and his bass player and I along the way became friends, started hanging out in pubs along the way and having beers. And he started showing me these animated videos that he was doing, kind of like South Park, you know, funny kind of little weird things. So I had it in my mind. At some point, I wanted to ask him to do a video, and so when it came to the mountain, I figured that that would be a good song to have a little bit of a twist with, and so that's how it evolved. And now, as I was telling Donna Sue earlier, there's going to be a sequel for Spirals Volume 2. We're already working on a sequel of Superhero Bruce for a video, the first video from that EP. So
I love that. That's awesome.
I think it's an inspiring song for youth. Actually, while I was watching it, I was thinking about your grandkids. What an inspirational song for them, just to think about. You know, don't be afraid and don't look at the mountain. Reach for when you're looking for the star. Love that.
Yeah. You know, it's it's actually the first video that I've done that my grandchildren have been interested in. You know, that they kind of like, oh, all right, you know, like the video for the Garden of November is so somber and still and barren, really. You know, that puts them right to sleep. But the mountain, they like.
It is very exciting and vibrant. I really do like it, and you know, it kind of sets it kind of lifts you up because you got the Garden of November on there, and then you have this upbeat song. So I like the way you've done that. You're gonna put this on an emotional roller coaster. That's I'm just teasing you.
Well, you know, I come from the school of making records where, you know, it's there's a balancing act that goes on. You know, we don't live in a culture where people, you know, listen through top to bottom anymore. But you know, when I was coming up, that was the way it was. You know, and you know, you sort of learn to construct the records for the listener to take them on a journey, both emotionally, sonically. You know, there's a whole thing of changing keys and so, you know, to keep things moving. And, you know, there's a lot of little subtleties that go into that, you know, don't really come into play very much anymore, but it's still part of the process that I respect and adhere to. So.
Right. It's almost like a movie, almost, you know, just kind of how it goes, the climax, and then it goes down.
Exactly, like any story, like any, you know, artistic adventure. You know, you want to keep, in the case of music, you know, you want to keep the listener engaged, you know, lyrically, sonically, and emotionally. So
Right.
Yeah.
Find our way back there to where an album is important like that, and want to do that journey. Like right now, I know it's singles more, and people don't go through a album. I think it's about time for us to get back to that, and I think people are reconnecting due to this COVID in a different way, and I think those kind of would be important again. That's just
I hope you're right. I kind of have a similar feeling, and you know. Spirals Volume 2, which will be another 5-song EP, comes out in July, with that first single coming out in June, and the two of them together are going to go together as a vinyl.
Nice.
And there'll be a double CD package so that you can buy the whole thing, because you know, the whole thing is kind of conceived as a full album just broken in half.
Right.
You know? So I was kind of making a compromise to, you know, just keep putting singles out and not putting an album out, or just putting an album out and like that. So I kind of broke it in half, and, you know, you keep dribbling things out, and then you have, you know, a climax, you know, so it's the theory all over again.
Right.
The rules, there's not as many rules as there used to be, are there? Used to that it was in that format and you had to keep it within that format. Now it's like, I can either release it this way, like in a single, or I can go on.
Yeah.
But there was a magic to that. So yeah, like you guys said, I missed that as well. I miss it dearly. Now, one song that we want to talk about is The Garden of November. Can I play that video too? Let me do that as well. Okay, let's look at it.
Okay.
And
or I can play it live.
oh, would you like to do that? We can do that. Let's let you play it live.
I don't know. I haven't done it a while. On a Friday in the Garden of November, sitting on a bench just thinking about the future and the past, with memories and dreams collide in midair. Summer's over and gone, winter's coming on, and all that remains is falling to the ground. On a Friday in the garden of November, life's passing by. Life is passing by. There's a church up on the corner where I go. The concrete statues watch while you pray. There's a beam of light streaming through the stained glass window. So you listen close for what God has to say. Hustles in the air, hope outweighs the fear. There's a chill that tells us Christmas is getting closer. On a Friday in the garden of November, looking at pictures of the babies on my phone. You can almost hear the angels choir singing with the spirits that surround us come and gone. Summer's over and gone, winter's coming on, and all that remains is falling to the ground. On a Friday in the garden of November, time's moving on. Time's moving on.
Well, I had to go away for a minute on that one.
Huh?
Stop that. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to do that right now.
Glad I remembered it.
Yeah, I am too. I'm really glad that you actually got to sing it live, and I appreciate that you were willing. For sure.
Anything for you, MJ.
Thank you. Thank you. Doris, she's I don't know where she went to, but she will. I'm sure she'll be back shortly. It got dark.
Probably had a pee.
Yeah, it could be. There she is.
There she is, back to the ladies' room.
Oh, but
That was
yeah, that was beautiful. And gosh, it kind of gets me all. Of course, it kind of discombobulates me because now I'm sad, but that's okay. That's okay.
Don't be sad. You know,
It makes my heart tickle.
that's good.
There's another song that Donna has a favorite that has a song. The name is very similar. September.
It's called September
in your eyes. I can't hear.
She can't hear me.
Oh, you can't hear Bruce?
Right.
Okay. One moment, please. I'll try to fix this.
Okay.
Okay, we'll give it a second. Try this again. Say hi, Bruce.
Can you hear me? Donna?
Can you hear him, Donna?
No?
I'll go out and come back in. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You go ahead. Come right back, and I'll get you fixed up.
Back to the ladies' room. September in your eyes, yeah.
Okay.
When Donna comes back and hears me, we'll talk about it.
Okay. There we go.
Not in a long time either. I think she did go to the ladies' room.
There she is. Can you hear us now?
You there?
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's a technicality.
It's the government.
Ah.
We live too close to DC. They're like, that Bruce, you wrote that ugly song about us.
No, they're just monitoring Donna Sue. Let's face it.
Yeah, that's what's going on. That is what's going on.
She's the one they're worried about.
I know. I'm
She cries. You're right.
So we were going to talk about September in Your Eyes.
Oh yes, I absolutely love that song. Tell the story.
So the story of September in Your Eyes goes like this. So as most people or some people understand now, I lost my wife 8 years ago last Sunday. I was married for 32 years. And you know, part of the biggest dilemma that I found trying to move forward was dealing with the question of, would I be able to love again? Could I love again? How does that work? How does that feel? Is it possible? And you know, it was something that I wrestled with for a while until I got to a place where I met somebody that caused me to write September in Your Eyes. And I'll try and sing that song now. I probably haven't sung it since I saw you last time, you know. I thought I wasn't ready. Didn't feel a thing but hurt. Was in no kind of hurry to fall. Then you show up from somewhere, an angel of surprise, right from out of nowhere. September in your eyes. Me, I'm good at fantasy. I can pull things out the blue. But in my wildest imagination, girl, I never expected you. I could only wonder if I'd ever love again. The spell that I fell under is the one you got me in. I never would have dreamed it in a million endless nights, that one day I'd be staring at September in your eyes. I knew in time there'd be someone, I had no idea who. Could have been most anybody, just never expected you. I felt her knocking at the door. I felt the beating of the drum. Too much for me to just ignore. I couldn't run. I wouldn't run. All those fish out in the ocean, swimming in the sea, so many of them broken, trying to get a hook in me. But not one ever rang my bell, though so many tried. So you bust through the front door, baby, with September in your eyes. I know summer's over now, I can't believe it's true. In my wildest imagination, girl, I never expected you. Not in my wildest imagination, girl,
Okay, I think you should do this singing thing and writing thing for a living.
Same thing.
Yeah, you know what? I had no choice at this point.
That's
I had no choice.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's just for you, Donna Sue girl.
That was really good. That really is so beautiful.
I'm just surprised I remember these songs when you have to like go there and call on it, and it's there. So that's good.
It's kind of weird because I've written stuff a long time ago, and at the time I wrote it and I was singing it, I remembered it really well, and then years later I'm like, oh, I forgot that lyric. How did I manage that? You know,
yeah.
I'm actually surprised.
That happens. I mean, you know, I have friends who like will send me, you know, songs from 23 years ago. Remember this song? I'm like, I have no idea. You know, I have no idea. So
that makes me.
But I guess I'm good for like an 8-year period. I'm like,
really good. Yeah. So your songs, though, you know, and I went back, of course, because you were coming on it, and I looked back over the years, and they're so like really raw and adult, and if I was 15 again, I couldn't appreciate. I mean, I could appreciate your vocal tone and all the pretty sounds, but I couldn't appreciate them the way I do now. And that song about your daughter, oh my gosh, her wedding day.
yeah. That I can't play. That's beyond the 8-year limit.
Okay, but it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it really touched my heart.
It's an interesting point because you know, I've had trouble throughout my career balancing that line of, you know, because my love and my strength and my passion lies in telling these stories that affect my life, that come through me, that are honest, that are pure, that are soulful, that are heartfelt, that are, you know, contain some kind of Bruce philosophy or, you know, healing, or, you know, I mean, these are the things that I love to go for and feel like that is my purpose in writing. But coming up through the ranks, when you're dealing with a world where you want to be successful and you want to earn a living writing songs, and you know, it was always a fine line for me, you know, because typically those kind of songs aren't the ones that are the biggest on pop radio, and it's definitely a trick to be able to combine those elements. And so, you know, getting to this place in my life and in the world and where the music business is now, it has completely freed me up to just be me, you know, because even when I was younger, when you know, writing for publishers and things like that, you know, they steer you away from writing those kind of things. They, you know, don't preach, don't teach, try and be clever, in a you know, I love you kind of way. And I don't like to diminish that, because there's definitely an art to doing that. And there are people who can really do that well. That's just not where my strength lies, you know. So, I mean, so there were also earlier in my career, there were times where I would do a lot of co-writing, and a lot of the songs that became successful were co-writes, because that enabled me to balance myself in an environment where other people had other strengths, you know. And you know, just the other day, I did a little video for the Grammy Foundation on songwriting tips. And one of the things that I talked about was, you know, in collaboration, you know, understanding your own strengths and finding people to collaborate with you who are strong in areas where you are weak, and vice versa. And you learn from them, they learn from you, and, you know, and so like that. So, yeah. So that's that bit of info.
Speaking of some of the songs that, you know, that you've written that are deep and sometimes can be controversial, you're recognized by People magazine in 2017 for slamming self-serving leaders on your highly political single, It Ain't Cool. It Ain't Cool. I listened to that, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah, well,
I hadn't heard it until today, actually, to be honest with you. It was the first time.
How about if I sing a verse and a chorus of that?
That would be awesome. Yeah.
It's also, let's see. Yeah. So you know, It Ain't Cool is off an album called 21st Century World, which is the album before Spirals. And, you know, part of the biggest problem that I have politically, irregardless of what side you're on or where you are in that whole spectrum of whatever that is, what I don't like is the demonization of one side against the other. You know, I don't like a divided America. I don't like a divided Congress. I think the purpose is to get together and figure out solutions, and compromise is definitely, you know, in the middle of that equation. And you know, when you demonize the other person, it just makes it, or the other opinion, it just makes it anyway. So,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Politicians serving the wrong master. Greed is gonna bring capitalism down. Brought to the brink of the ever after. By imposters to the throne who ain't got no crown. But it's a selfish society. Till the almighty dollar buys the rules. That ain't the way that it was conceived. That it ain't cool. It just ain't cool. Too many living in Kansas City. They got no job and they got no home. On the other side of town, the grass is green and pretty. Drowning in the water of the overflow. But it's a culture built on all about me, where they just don't care too much about you. That ain't the way that it's meant to be. And it ain't cool. It just ain't cool. Really doesn't matter how you slice it up. Many people ain't got enough. No. Really doesn't matter what side you're on. It's easy to see so much is going wrong. Yeah. It ain't cool. It ain't cool. Just ain't cool. It ain't cool. It ain't cool. Just ain't cool.
I love it.
I love
A little more than a verse and chorus, but okay.
That was perfect. It was very perfect. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever told you, but you can play guitar real well too. Yeah, you should do that for a living.
Well, here's another interesting guitar fact. So I now have arthritis in this hand. I had like 10 years ago, I had surgery on in my neck.
Mm-hmm.
And because I have this numbness in my hand, so they found out my neck was crushed, and they did this surgery and basically put my neck back in order. But this hand still is limited. So what it has forced me to do is to create within your limitation, and so there are certain things that I can do and do pretty well. There are a lot of other things I can't do at all because I'm just not able to do it. But it creates a little, you know, window that I can operate in, and so you make it work, you know. So I fooled you.
You did great. You're good at that fooling thing.
Showbiz, babe.
You got some comments. Okay. You got Richard says hi.
Hey, Richard. Hey, Richard. I grew up with Richard.
And Deborah Wilson, we know her.
Hey, Deborah. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Doreen. Good to see you too. Hi.
Hello from Motown.
Peppy. Peppy is the lead singer of Alive and Kickin', my first band.
Oh yeah, cool.
We had a hit in 1970, Tighter, Tighter. Hold on, just a little bit tighter now, baby.
Cool.
I love you so much and I can't let go. No, 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 hold on, just a little bit tighter now, baby.
That's awesome.
So did you write that with Tommy James, or did Tommy James write that one?
Tommy James wrote that and produced it for our band Alive and Kickin' in 1970. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so
Which is 50 years ago. Shut up. As little Richard would say, shut up.
Oh, that's really cool. So, I know that Tommy James was a mentor to you.
Yes.
What are some things about that relationship do you care to share? Little bits of knowledge and whatnot. That's actually really cool.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a quality of generosity. Because he was generous. He was at a moment in his career where he was at the height of his career. I mean, I think We're Alone Now, Moni Moni, Crimson and Clover, Crystal Blue Persuasion, on and on. And it was at this particular moment in time that we met him, and and struck a relationship. And so we were a house band at a club in Manhattan at the time called the T.H.E, which was on 52nd Street, right off 8th Avenue. Tommy's apartment was on 8th Avenue between 53rd and 54th Street. So basically on breaks or at the end of the night, I would go to his apartment and this is how Ball of Fire was written. I'd go to his apartment and try and write with him, and I, at that point in time, was an unpublished songwriter, just a kid in Brooklyn, growing up in Brooklyn with a dream of music business, and writing songs and trying to write songs, and working in my band. We worked 3 nights a week, 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week. This is what we did, and so Tommy was the first person to take me into a recording studio, a legit, real recording studio back in those days. In those days, recording studios were really expensive. And when you were a kid growing up in Brooklyn, you certainly couldn't afford to go into a recording studio. This is before cassette machines. And, it's like, I lived in the basement of my parents' house, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's like my father would pound on the floor, because the only way I could remember the songs I was writing I would have to really literally memorize them, because there was nothing to record them on. So I would just sing them over and over and over and over again, and until, they were embedded in my brain. And so anyway, so that's how, Tommy was generous. He at a very big moment for himself reached out to me and my bandmates and pulled us in, and I was able to co-write that song with him, and then we had a hit with that song, and it basically shotgunned my career.
That's really good.
Because at the same time, I was a student at St. John's University. I was a theater major. I was kind of like acting during the day and playing in the band at night, and not knowing which way my life was going to go. But it was because of that it kind of shotgunned me into music, and that became my career path.
Yeah,
So,
you did a bachelor's in theater, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Yeah. In the studio that you and Tommy were at, was that Allegro?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's Allegro was at 1650 Broadway, which is right between, actually, the entrance is on, I think, I want to say 51st Street. I'm probably wrong. Maybe it's 54th. Anyway, I don't remember. But Allegro, yeah. It was in the basement of that building. And years later, I found out that I don't know if you guys know Kenny Vance, but in 1978, Eddie Hoganson, Joe Esposito, and myself were a band called the Brooklyn Dreams, and we did a movie called American Hot Wax. And in that movie, we formed a band, a singing group with Kenny Vance called the Planetones. And anyway, I got onto the story because Kenny was in a group called Jay and the Americans at that time, and they had an office in the same building as 1650 Broadway, and there were a lot of music publishers in that building. It became like it originally was the Brill building, that was the music building in New York, but then it somehow was transferred to 1650. Anyway, trivia.
Hey, yeah. Also, now were you in the band that did the theme song for Hollywood Nights? Also.
Yes. Yeah, that was Brooklyn Dreams. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one, Donna Sue? Hollywood Nights.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, how can you forget, right? Two of the best looking critters in the world were on there at the time. They were really good looking.
Yeah.
Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer, right? Did I get it right? Yeah, definitely. That's so cool.
Yeah, and Robert Wall.
I got to think about this one. I mean, it caught me off guard. Robert Wall. Which one is that?
He's also one of the leads. He's a comic.
Yeah. Okay. I probably, if I jog it a little bit, I'll probably remember who that was. Oh, you got some more comments. Look, hearts.
Amy Jonas. Hi, Amy.
She said, "Hi, Bruce."
Hi. I haven't seen you in a while, Amy. I need to do a gig at Genghis so I can see you.
That's really cool.
There's a club here in LA that's been around forever. It's a really small room attached to a Chinese restaurant, and it's called Genghis Cohen. And,
that's cute.
I played there for years, and lots, everybody plays there, and so it's kind of like being at Donna's place, your guys' place. It's a really nice, small, intimate room, which are my favorite kind of rooms to play.
So we have a backdrop where we can be in this. She and I can sit and put a green screen on and pull the holler up behind the little listening room.
Oh, nice.
We did it the other day, but it's such a production.
Right. Right. The production isn't worth the effects, right?
You're worth it. It's just no.
There's enough stuff going on to figure out with all this stuff without having to worry about the background.
MJ and Donna Sue, that's me, MJ. Donna Sue's over there on the other side of Bruce. We think everybody needs to listen to with him after the show. After the show, if you go there now, I will see those number drop. I'll be mad at you. And so you got to go afterwards. Great Magazine said that with him is the perfect song to cry along to, and they are right, because I cried with that one as well. Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, that's a breakup song.
Now, did you break up with somebody to get the inspiration for that, or?
No, actually, I live part of the time in Milan. Okay. And in Milan, I have friends who a lot of fashion world friends. So anyway, I have this couple of guys who are friends of mine, and they were in a relationship for 17 years.
Wow.
And ended up breaking up, and so that's the story with him.
Oh,
that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they broke up, but that you pulled inspiration from that. I think that's really cool. But that song really, I'm shocked that isn't everywhere. That song is so perfect and raw and just human. I can relate to that. I don't know if you spend time. Anything that I've listened to in the last few weeks of yours, I've been on a Bruce Sudano kick, and I'm like, man, I really like this, I mean, I can really listen to it. Instead of just letting it play in the background, I actually listen to it. And I'm just like, this is so real. This is life. I can relate to so many things in all your songs. It just, I'm at the point where I can. I'm an adult now.
That's it. Everybody grows up.
I
But
didn't realize
my motto is keep living, keep living, keep writing. So
I like that.
So I'm definitely appealing to a certain age group, but that's fine with me.
They're digging it. My kids I had it playing, and my kids were like, "That's gorgeous." They really liked it.
Good.
Love
All
it.
right.
They're in their 20s, so
Yeah.
Your kids like it too. Yeah. See, mine range from. I mean, my 11-year-old, she was like, "What are you playing in there?" She's like, "I'm gonna get in on this." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "We're gonna have this guy on." Really? Okay. That's so cool. So you got Amy Jonas commented back. Yes, I need to see you. So you guys hook it up and see
Someday
each
soon.
other.
When we can actually see people in person.
Right. That's the rough stuff, huh? So and on your newest EP, is there any other songs you want to talk about and give us some more insight to?
I'm gonna plug my phone in so it doesn't die. Hold on one second.
Thank you. We would miss you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, am I here? Are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't see anybody.
Uh-oh. Can you hear us?
I hear you. Yeah.
You want me to pull you off and back on real quick? Here we go. Try this. Oh, then there's no longer a Bruce sandwich. Let's see here.
Wait, maybe I need to do something.
No, there you are. I see you. You don't see
I don't
us?
see me. I don't see me, but
Okay. Do you want to go off?
as long as we hear me. As long as we hear me, I don't need to see me.
Okay.
I mean,
any other songs? There's a really sad song on there that that ends the EP. It comes right after the Garden of November. It's called "See You When I Get There," and this is also really a personal song. And I wrestled with even actually recording it, and then do I put it on a record? And when people were hearing it, they were like, "Yeah, Bruce, you need to put this on the record. People need to hear the song because it's a song that deals with loss, but loss is certainly a real thing. It's something we all experience, and so I went ahead and did that. So that's on the record, and I'm surprised at how many people really love that song. And the other song on that record is called "Back in the Neighborhood." And I was born in Brooklyn and grew up in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is at the soul of who I am. So this is a song about being back in the neighborhood, and it's a song about gentrification, and but the larger esoteric message of the song has to do with the fact that you really can't go back in time, and memories are memories, and they can be sweet, but life is about change, and it's about going forward and reaching forward. So it's good to have memories, because what I realized, I used to feel sad because my life has moved so much that I always have this fantasy in my mind that, oh, well, if I just go back to the neighborhood, that's where I'll be whole, but what you find out is you go back to where you were from, and it's not the same. It's not the same as it was. Things don't stay the same, things change, people move on, dynamics change. And so there's always that fantasy, but, it's always about now and tomorrow. So
I agree with that wholeheartedly, because I did the same thing. Like, I went away from home and came back thinking that I was not going to skip a beat. I was going to be able to walk into my friends' houses. We were going to be able to go out and have dinner and do all these things. And They were busy.
Yeah.
Like what was
Their lives had moved on. They had kids. They had husbands. They had jobs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Our old hangouts had closed down and been leveled, all these different things. And
Yeah.
that's sobering. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so at that point in time, I came up with the saying, the only thing constant, the only thing you can depend on is change.
It's changed.
And
Exactly.
that's all that you can depend on. So just get used to it. That's what I told myself.
Yeah. Yes.
So I really
Yeah.
like that. And I'll be honest, I have not listened to that song yet, and I'm completely looking forward to that. So I'm glad that you did bring that one up.
All right.
I think it is a challenge to try to live in the now, but that is like where it's at, is when you can totally just live in this moment right now, and that's it. Not worry about the future or be sad about the past. That it is
exactly. It's definitely a challenge, especially now. I mean, even now as we go through this, all this lockdown stuff, and I kept telling myself, try to find the beauty in the moment. So there's a lot of bad that's going on and a lot wrong going on around us. But we're all sequestered in our own little worlds. Those of us that are blessed enough and safe enough to be healthy and in a good spot, take advantage of the time. I've really tried to be creative in this time, and I've read a few books. I'm just trying to make the most of this particular moment, because life, we all live very hectic lives. So this basically has been a shift, and in many ways a pause from a lot of other things. I mean, certainly complicates some other areas, but anyway, take advantage of the moment that's presented. That's the deal. So,
and touch those things that you normally don't get to. Sometimes I feel like we all get so on autopilot that we're not even like living artfully, is kind of what I think of it. Like enjoying that beautiful teacup instead of hurrying up and get the cup out of the cabinet. Like actually, like think about the things you're doing, being in those moments. Super cool. And unfortunately it's taken this kind of situation to cause a lot of people to where they're going, oh, I kind of working in the flower garden, or
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Even though I'm still busy, I feel a lot less overstimulated, strangely. Right. So yeah, like I didn't realize what a cloud of autopilot and not intentionally ever ignoring people, but I just really didn't look at them like I have lately. Even my children, like this has been a time for me to look at my kids for who they really are, and I didn't realize that I had been kind of flying past them. My life was flying past them. They slowed down. Life slowed back down a little bit, and so it's time to appreciate it.
I've recognized it too. Relationally with families, I see it with my daughters and their kids, because it's such a compressed situation now, and they're all the distractions at schools and this and that, work, and so people are really having to interact, and it's really a nice bonding time for families, I think.
Right.
So there are definitely good things that come of this, and there's good that comes out of everything. You just it was that concept that when my wife died, that was the little seed of hope that I held on to. I was like, you're going to get through this. There's going to be good that comes out of this, so that those are the things that, we try to search for and to recognize, and they help get us through those rough moments. So
yeah, there's a saying, beauty out of ashes. Can beauty come out of ashes? And then I think that song was derived from a passage in the Bible, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. But of all movies, the Deadpool soundtrack, but it's a beautiful song. it was a beautiful song for such a wild movie, but it was a good.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, we're about to our hour. I want to make sure that if anybody has any questions that they might want to throw them in now, to ask Bruce before he before we end this nice little live session. This is your moment. And in the meantime, is there any closing thoughts for you, Bruce?
Closing thoughts. Closing thoughts. No. I haven't got a closing thought. No, I mean, the only thing you could say is everybody stay safe, use common sense, and, let's keep walking forward and see how we get out of this mess. And I look forward to being back out there and coming down there and seeing you guys and playing some shows and
Yeah, that's
having
what
some fun.
I can't come back to Southern Maryland and doing a show or two down this way for us, and
Yes.
looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people asked about you after your show, wondering if you're coming back, and I was like, I trust you're back. So,
Yeah.
Amy Jonas had a question for you. Can you play McCabe's with Dan Navarro?
Ha! Tell her that's a great idea. That last year or a few months ago, Dan was doing something at McCabe's where he was introducing new and young artists. So before I understood that's what he was doing, I actually called him and said, hey, why don't I do that with you? Because I've never played McCabe's. And he's like, we'll do it one of these days. He said, but this is set up for me introducing younger artists, blah, blah. So, Amy, let's try and make that happen. I'd love to play there. I've never played there. So I will speak to Dan about that again. That's a good idea. Thanks.
Donna Sue,
So, girls, I appreciate this time, and I look forward to seeing you both. And thanks for this. And
thank you for being willing to come to our show. And
yeah, totally. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, an unforgettable pleasure.
yes, thank you.
We'll do it again at some point.
All right,
Absolutely.
wonderful. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Bye.
Thanks.
Good evening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Donna.